It is week 8 of Follow Jesus, the very last time that you're going to be meeting with your disciple. And hey, we're so proud of you. Today's a big day because today we're answering the question, what is our number one responsibility? And that's huge for these people that you've been meeting with. Pastor, you want to hit that?
Yeah, in 1 Timothy 2:2, big passage, if you haven't ever looked at it, it's probably coming up on the screen now, is it talks about, Paul talks to Timothy and says, Timothy, entrust to faithful men who are reliable and willing to teach others what I've been teaching to you, right? So what he's saying is, when I teach you, it shouldn't stop with you, Timothy. It should be that you're teaching to other people, and the people you teach, make sure they're going to teach it to other people, that it's going to flow through them. In the same way, it's important in this session that people are understanding this isn't the end. Week 8 isn't the end. And by the way, you need to let them know, just because we're done with these lessons doesn't mean that we're done in friendship,
right?
Or we're done, hey, we'll sit together. Hey, here's my number. You can always call me. Hey, let's keep up what's going on. I want to keep being friends with you. It just means the organized lessons are done now, the 8 lessons. But that's why it's so important in this one that you're helping them to set a trajectory, is that life is about doing this forever. Finding other people that you're going to help them discover, who are they praying for to get saved? Who are they, seeking God? Is it their neighbors? Is it people on the soccer team? Is it a family friend or a family member? Who is it that they're wanting to see come to Christ? And you're trying to help them now to start becoming like you are in their life, that they would become that in somebody else in their life. This is discipleship. So Matthew 28:19, the Great Commission, says, go make disciples of all the nations. That's what you're doing. That's now what we want them to do. It is the number one responsibility of our life. I'm proud of you for what you've been doing and discipling this person. Now it's time for you to look at them and basically help them say, hey, now what you've learned, go and teach other people as well.
Yeah. That's incredible. So, Pastor, just a second ago, you were talking about how there's never really like an ending to the relationship. We're always going to be friends, but at some point it is going to be different. You're not going to be maybe meeting every week. You're not going to have the organized thing. So, how can you end it formally without being awkward?
Well, I think that the deal is I think they knew from the very beginning it's 8 weeks. So I don't know how awkward. I guess with some people it could be awkward, but a lot of times they already knew the expectation was we were going to get through these 8 weeks. So if it gets to that point and they already kind of knew, okay? But what I would do is I would say, hey, this doesn't mean you have my number, you have my email, whatever. Text me, call me. Yeah. Hey, I'm going to be praying for you. Hey, I'm going to see you each week. But really what I want to do is help you in this next season. So what is the next season? Is it Growth Track? Help them to sign up and get them to Growth Track. So don't just drop it. Get them into Growth Track.
Right.
If it's freedom groups, then don't just drop it. Go make sure they're in freedom group. Maybe even say, hey, let me walk you to freedom group next week. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you're trying to help them. It's a baton handoff type deal. Next steps of what's going on.
Sure.
It may even be you're helping them say, hey, tell me 2 or 3 people you're praying for. I'll be praying with you. And then if they ever come to church, let me meet them. I want to connect. Let's stay connected on this. Who can we? So what you're kind of doing is becoming like a coach to them on, okay, where do they go next? The point is, this isn't about for the rest of their life, y'all are meeting every single week, for coffee to talk about this. It's not necessarily like that. But it is that you have a responsibility to help them, or you have a feeling that I want to help them get to the next deal, whether it's Growth Track, whether it's freedom groups, or whether it is they got somebody coming to church and they're going to start doing discipleship with them. Maybe you can help them find a place in a small group. That's a very important deal.
Yeah.
Maybe it's in your group or somebody else's group. You've probably been trying to do that all along, but you want to get them in a group. You hopefully have gotten them, if they're not in Growth Track yet, they get in Growth Track so they can get a group, so they can get serving. Is how can we get them to connect with not just you,
right?
So that's the concept.
Yeah, that's so good.
And I think you can say, hey, you have my number, man. If there's ever a time you need to call me.
Yeah, for sure. So that's one extreme. That's one side of the spectrum. But in several times that I've done this, it's like we say, okay, we'll meet for 8 weeks, and then a year later, it's like we're such good friends from that 8 weeks that we just want to keep going. So what are some things that we could do when we keep going? If we want to keep meeting, what are things we could do together?
Well, I think if you're going to use the grow concept, you just come together and you're going to naturally be greeting each other. Hey, how's things going? What's been happening? And reviewed like, hey, how did this week go? What have you been learning? I think you start moving into more of they're learning stuff and teaching you, and you're growing with them. Yeah. You're learning stuff, you're teaching them. Listen, I meet with probably two or three people I meet with regularly, like all the time. And we just talk to each other. We pray for each other. We encourage each other. So there's the greeting, the reviewing, and then you just can kind of go like, what's the outcome I'm hoping to have in this, and the obstacles. And then you talk about, how are we going to do this? What are we going to do when? And you keep doing that type of deal just in regular life. But you're praying for each other. Hey, this is what I got in the Bible this week. If you wanted to do a book study, you could do a book study in the Bible. If you wanted to read a book together, you could do that. It may be that they're struggling in their family, so you get a good book about family, or about marriage. It may be they're struggling in wanting to be, or they want to get better at prayer, so you get a prayer book and y'all read it together. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that you can do, that you can grow together. But a lot of what I think is probably, I would really hope that you and them are praying to get another disciple. Yeah. Okay? Yeah. So with that in mind, it may even be they could get somebody else and you're helping them in that next step to disciple that person. Exactly. But it's also, if you get in a small group, then those things are already happening. So it's not like I got to have, here's what would be probably difficult, is that you're in a small group, you're discipling them, and now you're done, but you're trying to keep me with them while I'm trying to disciple someone, like this. So I think what you do is try to get them, if you're going to keep that kind of relationship, get them in small group with you, or get them in a small group so that they have an ongoing relationship of that happening. Right. So that you can now take someone else on, they can take someone else on. That's the multiplication that takes place.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. So as the discipler, and you kind of just hit on this, but for the people watching this video, when we're kind of finished, our hope and our goal is that it's not just one and done. It's that this is the rest of their lives, that they're always teaching someone to follow Jesus. And so are there any places in our church, sometimes it's hard to find people that are that need to be discipled. Is there anywhere in our church that we can find?
Well, I think they could talk to you, Pastor Tyler, because with you or with the people, when we see people get saved, we go to the back room and we're praying with people to receive Christ, their first step, into baptism. And then at that point, we're saying, hey, and we'd love to meet with you next week, get to know you more, and kind of get into follow Jesus. You could get on the list to say, hey, I want to help anybody who doesn't have a friend. And we do it with men, women with women, and I'd love to do that. And so if you would be willing to do that, please let us know, because we need you and want you to do that.
And really, I think it's as simple as every Sunday morning, Pastor Scott always says, nobody, and then we all say walks alone. Right. And so you have an opportunity every single Sunday when you're finished with this 8 weeks, hey, the next week, walk down with somebody. Find someone to come back with and just jump in and do it again. That's what it's all about. Pastor and I are so proud of you. Mm-hmm. I mean, taking some of you more than 8 weeks to set aside time and pray for the person you're meeting with and really do whatever it takes to point them towards what does it look like to follow Jesus. That is incredible. And that's what we want everyone to do. You are setting the tone for our whole church in doing this. And we're so pumped about that.
And I want them to tell us how it went. I mean, now that it's week 8, could you go to followjesus.oaks.church, and on there's a link just to let us know how it went. Tell us who you discipled, tell us that you just finished, and tell us kind of the next steps that you're going to go, that you guys have decided on, are they going to, the growth track? Mm-hmm. Are they going to go into the freedom groups? Are they getting smaller? Just tell us. And if there's any concerns you have or anything that we might need to know, please let us know so that we can be a part of this next transition in their life as well. You're leading the way, but we want to support it. Thank you for doing that.
Hey, one last time, we just wanted to say thank you for all that you've done, for reporting, for telling us how things are going, and for helping us learn as we do this with you. We love you, and we're here for you as always.